Two. Hey, welcome back to the Relentless Positivity Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Martin. Got an awesome guest here today. Really positive dude, excellent musician, great dad, excellent husband, Mike Roberts. Thanks for coming in, man.
Howdy.
Hey, man. Thank you for coming. You're a super positive guy. You're always putting out positive energy through your music and your life and all that. So I wanted to have you on. And let's start off. So where did you grow up? Where are you from?
Well, I was born in South Alabama. I was born in Enterprise, Alabama, but I lived and my father's side of the family is from New Brockton, Alabama, which is between Enterprise and Elba.
Okay.
But people are like Elba, and I'm like, that's where the flood, the great, like, oh yeah, because it's very famous for how many times it flooded over the years. It's just kind of I don't know. It's just that's how people know. It's just like
everybody's got to have your claim to fame, man. Even if it's
Enterprise.
Flooding,
Enterprise got the boll weevil, right? You got the boll weevil. But when I was 3 years old, my mom and my father split up, and we moved. My brother, I have one brother. His name is Lee. He's older than me, and he's 1 year old, about 14 minutes older than me, I think it is. So we fought. I mean, mindless, and now we're inseparable, and we're very close. But we moved up here to Huntsville when I was 3 years old, and we lived here pretty much ever since. I went back down to South Alabama for about a year in the 7th grade. I spent my 7th grade year in South Alabama in Enterprise. And I went to the junior high school, and it was so weird, Joe, because that, everybody in the nation is different, but we're all the same. There's a lot of things that are similar, but Enterprise had a 7th grade school. It was the prep school for high school, and high school was 8th grade through 12th.
Oh, wow.
Which is weird, isn't it? Because Challenge was 6 through 8, and when I went to Highlands Elementary, it was 1 to 6. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think I went to every school in this city almost. I tell you, my mom moved around a lot, just trying to find where to live, and it was just the 3 of us, and she was in and out of relationships, and so anyway, I'm basically from here in Huntsville. Okay. This is my home.
What high school did you graduate from?
I graduated from Grissom in '85.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, go Tigers.
All right, so you graduate high school. What's the plan after high school? Did you have a plan? Did you kind of fall into stuff? What did you do right after high school?
Well, I'll tell you, Joe, my parents are preachers, and I was playing Christian music, and I went to Calhoun. I decided my mom wanted me to go to Oral Roberts, and I was like, nah, that's not my bag, Mom. So I decided they would let me stay home, and I just helped with rent a little bit if I could, and I paid for my school, and I went to Calhoun, and I went there for a year and a half, and I had a mid to high C type average. I was gonna major in English literature, and I never had a problem with my classes. I never had a problem driving to the campus, because back then they didn't have a remote learning.
Was at the mall, right? Were you at the mall?
No, that was before then. That was when they opened in the mall a little bit after that too, Joe. Or around the same time, I went to campus. I drove to Decatur, and I loved it. But the whole time, all I could think about was playing rock and roll. And I was playing my guitar all the time. And my friends that were out there playing and traveling were making a lot of money compared to what I was making at my day job that I was killing myself 55 hours a week at. And I just, you know what I mean? I was working hard. I was going to school, and I thought, this is weird. So I met with my pastor, and I said, listen, I really do. I want to rock and roll. I don't know how people are going to feel about it. I'm not sure how to approach it. And he was like, I think that if you want to go do it, you should go do it. And I did. I don't know if you know Jim Richards or not. He was my pastor at the time at Impact Ministries. But just coolest dude. And so he told me, hey man, I don't know, Mike, if you wanted a beer with your pizza, do you feel convicted about having a beer with your pizza? And I'm like, oh no. And he was like, well, you shouldn't feel bad about wanting to play the Eagles either, should you? And I said, no, I shouldn't. You're right, I shouldn't. And that was it, Joe. I dropped out of college, and I started playing music, and I started working full time at my job as well. And so I juggled those things for a few years until I could become a full-time musician. You know what I mean? And I met a girl. We married, moved away. It didn't work out. I moved back, and I met Kim. at a gig through one of my friends, and I pursued her, which she was having no part of for quite a while because I was a musician, and she didn't want to take that chance and get done wrong. And I was like, I stayed with it. I stayed pretty persistent, and she finally went out with me, and I finally talked her into it. I tricked her. Been 23 years in November, man. It'll be awesome. So
I hope you figure it out. So keep it up, man. Don't let her figure it out.
Yeah.
So back in the day, so you're who are your musical influences? You mentioned the Eagles. So what else were you playing back in the day?
Man, I loved everything. When we were kids, remember I was mentioning my mom's a single mom, so she would sit me in front of the console stereo, and I would listen to Fleetwood Mac, and I would listen to Journey. And then when I got like in the 7th grade and 8th grade, my friends slipped me like some Judas Priest records and some Kiss records. And my mom would find them. This is so funny. I mean, people are like, I can't believe she did that, but this was great. So my mom and I ended up having so much fun with it until finally she admitted that she stopped disagreeing with me long before, but she had to keep doing it because it was so much fun. She would throw them away, and I would go get new ones, and I would hide them, and she would find them and throw them away, and I would go get new ones. And this went on. I mean, this went on and on and on and on, Joe, until finally, then we had that talk, But I loved rock, and so I listened. But my main influence growing up, I thought about your email, was Rick Emmett from the band Triumph, and Triumph was a Canadian power trio. So you had people that were, you had your rockers in school, your AC/DC folk, which I was definitely part of, and then you had your Rush people.
Okay.
Your Rush people were intellectual. Now, then those a lot of those people ended up being Dream Theater fans later on too. And what was the band? Oh my God, I can't believe it. Silent Lucidity, Queensryche. There it is.
Oh, Queensryche. Yeah.
Thinking man's rock and roll. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there was Triumph over here, and they were my guys. They were right in the middle with their flag.
Well, you know what I mean? Hey, this podcast is big in Canada now. We got a lot of Canadian listeners.
Yeah. Hey, I got listeners in Canada. Hey, you guys in Canada?
Hey, well, let's combine them. Yeah, shout out to my friend Ernie who came on the podcast a few weeks ago. He pretty much runs Canada. People don't know that. They think there's a prime minister. It's Ernie is the guy. So he hooked me up.
Hey, Ernie. The closest I came to Canada was this past year. My friend Scott Johnson and he has a job up that he travels around and checks on government facilities, and so I was able to get a break from work and from everything, and a hall pass, and I went up to Maine, and after the things he had done, we stayed for a couple of days, and we fished up there on the Canadian border. Where the fishing was terrible because there had been no rain up there, but it was pretty cool, Joe, to get to sit and watch the sun come up or go down over the Canadian border almost every morning. It's pretty up in Canada. So
yeah, man, I need more Canadians in my life, man. I haven't met a Canadian I didn't like. So man, they're good people. So appreciate them listening.
I think all the Canadians that hate Americans stay in Canada. I think we all have to meet those guys and girls, do we? So anyway,
although when I lived in Ireland, I lived with a French Canadian girl. So I lived with 3 girls when I lived over there. It sounds awesome, but it was terrible. I was a roommate with a French Canadian. She was not a fan of your boy over here. So that was my one bad experience. But
well, there you go.
Other than that, we're good. So you've been doing gigs for 30 plus years now. So going back? Do you have one that kind of stands out, or a few that stand out over the years, for good or bad?
One. Well, you know what? How about if I give you a good and a bad?
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, that'd be great.
Awesome. I was playing. The good one is in 2000. I want to say it's 2007. If it was 2006, I apologize. It's one of those years. I was out with Garrity, and we played the Grand Ole Opry, and that was probably one of my most, if not the most memorable gig. Not just because it was the Opry, but it was because the whole time I was growing up, I'm trying my best not to get all tore up and misty out over this, but my grandma would always say, boy, you stay with that guitar and that singing, and you're going to be on the Opry one day.
Wow.
So there you go.
There you go. Grandma knows.
Yeah, man. Cool.
That's pretty amazing.
Oh, man. So, well, the bad one is this. I guess, lots of things have happened. Well, see, I'll tell you what, I'll give you a choice because there's 2 that just came to my mind. So they both got to be epic. So one was when I was a kid and one was when I was grown. Which one do you want?
Drunk all day long, right?
Okay. All right. So, all right. I went on the road, same deal, it wasn't the same leg, but we were out for, you know, a good while. We never stayed out for a ton of time, so all of us had families, and so did Gary. So we came home, and but we went out, we played these festivals, and we were in Saginaw in a horseshoe, and there was 40,000 people there. Daryl Worley was riding around on a horse. It was awesome, and I got to talk to him, and we, you know, because Daryl Worley's got ties in Enterprise.
Oh, I didn't know
that. And he has a furniture store there, Worley Furniture. So anyway, I went up there and we're talking to Daryl, and we got on stage, and they had this big stage on one end of the horseshoe and one on the other end. The horseshoe was a big in middle island with a horseshoe bay around it. Okay, the Saginaw Bay goes around it, and so if I remember correctly, so if you're from Michigan, don't get mad at me if I messed up. So anyway, but we started to play, and like second song, the generators pop. These big generators, like the size of my house generators, you know what I mean? And they went out. Well, they flipped back to the other stage, and those generators were gone, and there was going to be no more music on that side of the stage. And since it worked out that way, they just took out those stuff, and our show was over.
Oh,
okay. So we went back to the truck bus, and I had a bottle of Jack Daniels from the courtesy people there, you know, as my rider, and my can of chew, you know, and I drank it because we didn't have anything else to do. I said, are we leaving today? And the bus driver had just gotten down to sleep. You know, and the bus drivers have to get rest too, you know. Sure. And so he needed to rest whether we had a gig or not. So we just set up a land generator, and the guy stayed at the hotel and we to sleep, and we just stayed there. And so I drank that bottle of whiskey, and I asked, there was a lady from the record company there that day, and I said, Charlie, and she said, yes. And I said, do we have anything to do today? And she said, no. And so I drank that bottle of whiskey. And I don't know, an hour.
Oh,
and I was right in about 2 hours, Joe. I thought I was the funniest guy you'd ever meet. You know what I mean? And I just kept talking. She walked in, and she goes, hey, the people at the radio station that own the radio station, they want to have you guys come to have dinner at their house. They have a big celebration party after, and they felt bad because you couldn't play. They want you to come. And I was like, oh no, you're not taking me in public. You're not doing this. You can't do this to me. And so they came back, and then the record company rep guy came in, and he said, Mike, and I said, yes, Patrick. He said, you really have to go, man. That lady just loves that. She just loves you. She thinks you're great, you know? And I was like, but I'm hammered and I can't be in public. He was like, you know what? Stay close to me and we'll be okay. Well, I wasn't okay because I was hammered at the party, and it was so. I lost you there. Have I got you back now?
Yeah, you're back. You're back.
Sorry, I'm on my phone, so I had to mute a call of some sort. Anyway, I got really drunk, and I was in public, and everything went okay, and I was a gentleman. But you know what I mean? I'm a gentleman. But I finally stated my case because the radio station's guy came up to me, and he said, man, Mike, are you okay? You don't look very good. I said, I am hammered, and I can't eat this food, and I just can't be here. I need to get home. And he's like, you know what? They made you come, didn't they? Because my wife was here. She's a big fan of yours. He said, I tell you what, if you can get through this, I'll make sure that you get back to your bus. And she came over and we met, and we took a picture together, and it came out okay, I guess. And he put me in his limo, and they sent me back to the room. I mean, not the room, but to the bus. And I'll never forget that, because you want to hear the rest of the story?
Yeah, absolutely.
The bad part. This is the guy part. Okay. My friend Ryan Tillery is a drummer at the time. Ryan was eating these peanuts that were in the middle of the tables. They're, you know, tables all spread out, and peanuts in the middle. And you know those kind that are kind of like Boston baked beans that had the coating, the sugar coating with the cinnamon on them. Yeah, he was popping those in his mouth, and he was sucking the cinnamon stuff off of them. He was dropping them back in my bowl, and I was eating them. And I never knew it. And he was just in tears laughing at me. And I thought, what is so funny? And I kept looking at my shirt, you know, did I get anything on me? But what did I do? You know, I was eating these peanuts the whole time. And he's like, dropping them back in the peanut. I'm eating them. So that's my worst gig ever. And it wasn't.
That's not too bad. 30 plus years, man. That's not bad. That's not bad. If you ate a few used peanuts, that's not too bad.
Yeah, and the one when I was a kid is a lot shorter. When I was a kid, I stepped on stage and I was barefooted, and I stepped into a water puddle, and I hit my cable with a festival in it, and it knocked me 6 feet back. And I don't know how long I was unconscious, maybe 2 or 3 seconds. But when I woke up, I was laying there. I was playing bass at the gig, and I was laying there with my Rickenbacker on my chest. And I took it as a sign from God to never play bass again.
So you got to listen to those signs, right?
I didn't. I picked up a 6-string.
Well, that's awesome, man. Those are great stories. I know you probably have 100 of those from being on the road and all that good stuff. So
some of the ones I have, most of the ones I can't tell. Yeah, but that's one of Ryan's favorite ones to tell on me. Is that I just kept eating those darn peanuts, and so he had to quit eating. He had to quit doing it because he started getting choked up because he would laugh so hard at me. Anyway, we better move on. I talk about
you get a peanut in your trachea. That ain't no good for anybody. So
it's not fun for anybody.
So, man, as a musician, do you have favorite songs you perform? Like, it maybe changed over the years. Like right now, what's your current favorites for you like performing right now? I know you're a songwriter as well as a musician. So, is it some of yours or somebody else's? What's your favorite?
All right, can I kind of not yes or no that?
Yeah, you do whatever you want, man.
I know I just did that to you, but I thought about that question too, and most of the time when I'm writing a song, that's in my mind. I just wrote one that I'm 95% done with. I'm just not sure about a couple little things. And when I've been meditating the last 2 or 3 days, I'm one of those weirdos that meditates. But when I had to push that out over here for a while because it's in my head so much. It's like that song you get stuck in your head when somebody says something, like I used to walk by my friend Brian in Decatur and go, "Build me up, Buttercup," and all day long he'd go, "I hate your guts." He'd be, you know what I mean? Just whatever it was, that song is that you pop in your head and you just go sing, So my originals are definitely on my mind. Usually the most current one. Usually it's not a past one. And somebody will say, "Hey," at the gig, will say, "Hey, Mike, play that song," and I remember how much I love it, And that's my favorite originals to play, as the ones I'm thinking about. But I did think of a couple to play today, maybe to try to do for you today if you wanted me to do one later.
Oh, absolutely, man. I love it.
My whole "Let's All Drain at the Same Time" episode is over, so I think I can do one.
It's meant to be there, man. You got to do it.
Yeah, I almost missed that message earlier as I'm trying to come out. It's like, man, I don't know.
Yeah, so if you're listening, Mike's playing hurt, man. He had the sinus issues. He's playing hurt, so he showed up anyway.
Hey, man, I'm playing with the pain, baby.
That's right. That's right.
Anyway, but as far as covers go, I know it fluctuates with my mood. Does that make sense?
Oh,
like
sure, yeah.
If I really, really want to rock, I love playing like old Peter Green, like "Oh Well," or maybe some Robin Trower, you know what I mean? Some Bridge of Sighs or something like that. I love that stuff, but if I'm feeling really, really, really sappy, you know what I'm saying? Maybe Breath by Kiss, or maybe that's definitely one of my high. People are like, "What?" But I love playing that on the acoustic guitar, and I also love doing Soulshine. That's a fun song to do, and it was my friend Doc's. I know you knew Doc Rock probably. It was one of his favorite songs that I did, and I did it. I have several friends that come to me and they say, "Hey, man, I love that song," and I'm like, "I do too. It's cool because we both do." But I guess that would be my favorite cover. How about that?
That's awesome, man.
Triumph was my inspiration, but they're not my favorite covers to play because Rick Emmett's like impossible to cover almost. The guy from Triumph. So I don't know if you ever listen to much of their music, but anyway, that's where I'm at. Some from Warren Haynes or some Kiss or something I just wrote.
There you go. The whole spectrum, man. That's part of being a musician, right?
Can I tell you something really cool?
Yeah.
I have a really cool thing to share on the podcast this morning. For Jude's 16th birthday, which was last Sunday, we went into Clearwave Studios in Decatur and we recorded a song that we wrote last year. Jude and I we did this song together, and he wrote the chords for this song. I might have put one in there, and I don't even recall that, to be honest with you. Songs, but what was so cool about it was a couple of things. The obvious, I wrote a song with my kid. Boom, bucket list. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
It's like coaching your kid's ball team. It's a big thing. It's a big thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of an unspoken thing for the dad. When I found out you were doing that, I was like, it's awesome. You know what I mean? Same thing, only different thing. And the song is solid. and it's a song. It's called "Always Been You." And I wrote most of the lyrics. I think he wrote me a couple lines and helped me with it. I gave him some options and he helped me with the lyrics. We wrote it and we cut the song in the studio and we videoed it. And it's coming out. It's the first one we're going to mix. I don't know when it's going to come out yet, but it will be hopefully by the end of March.
Very cool.
It may not be. It may be April, but that's been my favorite song in my head lately because the band had to learn it to cut it with Jude. And Jude had to learn it again to cut it with the band. And Joe, he did such a good job. All the guys, even the engineer was like, man, that kid he had to punch one part because it was a chord that he played. And right as the song ended, he goes, Dad, I think we have to do it again because I clam baked this chord right by the bridge. And I'm like, you know what? Let's just look back to it. And Jeremy said, well, you can punch that in. He was like, really? Cool. And so he punched in one try, never missed the end part, never missed the out part. And all the musicians out there to listen know how big the deal that is. It's very easy to let that get in your head and not quite get it, or just to go ahead and cut the whole track again. But he didn't have to. And he did a really great job on that. And he sang the backgrounds with me. You know what I mean? It's just, I'm really,
Let's go, Jude. Let's go, Jude. That's awesome, man. I can't wait to hear it.
Me either. And I can't wait. I haven't heard the mix. Everybody's like, let me hear it. I'm like, I know, and I'm that guy too, Joe, by the way. And when I was younger, I had a studio, a recording studio. And now that I don't want to hear the mix until you're done with it. And then I want to go listen to it. And if there's something else I want, I'll tell you, but I don't want to get in your chair and try to do your job. You just do it. You're done. And Jeremy Stevens is a stud engineer at Clearwave Studios. He's been there for a long time. And those guys are, I think if there's one studio in North Alabama besides the Muscle Shoals, bunch that we have that's so awesome now, with Jimmy over there in the Shoals and with Rodney over at Fame too, those are great places. But Decatur, Clearwave Recording Studios is a great place, but we had a really great time, and Jude had a great time in the studio. And anyway, so yeah, I wanted to share that. Thank you for letting me share that.
That's awesome. Hey, man, it's always great here in Decatur. So y'all had to go out there. I hear you, man. That's gonna be awesome.
That place, man. I love that. Folks in Decatur, they listen to us when we go over there and play, and I appreciate that.
That's something you and Jude can have the rest of your life, man. That's so cool.
Yeah, man. I can go back and check that out, man. That's really neat. So anyway, thanks.
Oh, I appreciate you sharing that, man. So going back over the years, you've been at this for a while. What's been your biggest failure over the years? We both aren't big on failure, but kind of what a failure was and how you learned from it and grew from it.
Well, stopping to care when I was drinking so much.
Yeah. Just
forgetting that I get tore up, that I had so much.
Mm-hmm.
We do that. We do that, we lie to ourselves, about it. And then we wonder, we get pissed at everybody around us or upset. Sorry if I said the wrong thing, but we get mad and lash out at people around us because of the crap we're doing. And really, it's just something we knew inside we should have been doing the whole time instead of giving up. Yeah. And what I learned from it was not to do that.
Yeah.
It's like, I started laughing at the old joke. You go to the doctor, it hurts when I do this. The doctor says, don't do that.
Stop doing it. Yeah.
It's that was what I learned, was that, for me, you always have something there. It's just sometimes we forget it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
That's it. That's what I learned from it. What I learned from it was not to give up and to continue to move, because I can't be the best dad if I'm not here, and I can't be the best husband I can be if I'm not here. You know what I mean? It's up and down. You know how it is. You're married too. We got great wives, but it don't mean we don't fuss and argue and get miscommunications and things happen, and you just have to kind of skate through it. But it depends on how you react to it. You can let it come and you can go. We were talking about that earlier too. So, I don't know, just let that go. It's not important, but I couldn't see that then. All I could see was how sorry I felt for myself and how.
Yeah. You get that tunnel vision, man. That's all you see. So it's tough.
Ridiculous. So it's ridiculous, and so I'm glad that I was able to make it.
Yeah. Glad you came out of it, man.
And that's why I lost that weight. That's why I lost it, and that's when I quit I thought, well, if I'm going to quit chewing tobacco and quit drinking in the same day, I'm going to have to do something. I'm going to be gaining 100 pounds or something crazy like that. And I don't need that either. It's just as bad for me. So I'm going to go ahead and start getting active. So I started riding my bicycle and I loved it. And then it started getting cold and I have really sensitive ears. So I started getting ear infections and I can't sing, Joe. So if I can't sing, I can't make money. And I'm like, man, I need to be doing something about this. So I went to Claymore because my son had mentioned he had taken Tiger Rock for several years and he was a level 3 black belt. But he didn't want to do that anymore. He wanted to do something else. And he came to me and he said, hey, how about if we did craft together? And with all the money I was saving, not buying shoe, I paid for it. You know what I mean? So, all of you that are out there thinking you can't do that, just if you're smoking or chewing, just think about it. Be like me, be the consummate cheapskate and realize how much money you're going to save when you do it. And that helped me. It wasn't my driving factor or anything, but it definitely, it helped me during that time. And I started taking Krav with Jude and we attended there for the next couple of years. Man, it changed my life, and that's where I got introduced to yoga, and so it gives you awareness and it gives you a confidence. You know what I mean? So it makes me even more of a fan of yours. It does.
Appreciate that, man. I just know that everything's tied together, right? When you get your physical together, it's going to help with your mental, your emotional, and likewise as well. So
that's what I mean by that is that all of us have to have something that we can do, and if we can't find something that we can do, well, a lot of times we just give up. You know what I mean? Oh man, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't like going to the gym, and I don't want to go to do this personal trainer thing. Some people have to have a personal trainer to get by, and some people have to have that camaraderie in the gym. Some people love to watch the evening news and run as fast as they can on a treadmill.
Yeah.
And who am I to say that you shouldn't do that?
Right.
I'm not gonna, because it's awesome.
That's always been my thing, man. We're all meant to move. We were built to move. You just got to figure out what that means for you. Some people like beating the crap out of each other, right? That's how they like to stay physical.
I loved it, man. I got knocked out a couple of times taking Krav. You know what I mean? Just for a minute, well, not a minute, but like a few seconds. But I mean, it when you are familiar with the pain, you're not afraid of it.
Yeah.
And so I got to that point. I guess that's just a weird thing for me, but I got to that point, and what I really, really wanted to do was not fight. I wanted to get limber. I wanted to do that, Joe, because I couldn't do the splits. I still can't do the splits, not side to side. And so, I'm just trying to get there. You know what I mean? Sure. It's every little thing. Like when you're taking jiu-jitsu, there's certain, you want to get to the point. Does that make sense? Like when I got to level 2, when the whole time I was in level 1 in Krav, I wanted to be in level 2 just so I could see what they were doing. Because you couldn't stay. You could watch the class a couple of times. They'd be like, "No, get out of here, you lowly level 1 person. You don't get to be in here with us. We work for this." You know what I mean? And I will say, when we got our level 1 clearance and we went to level 2, my son and I trained out together, and we got in the car and looked at him and he goes, "Dad." And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "That's the hardest thing I'll ever do." And I said, "Me too. Me too, son. Let's go celebrate." We went to Tim's and ate,
There you go. Well, there's a reason I like jujitsu is because I was terrible at it, which sounds weird, but there's value in being willing to do something you're terrible at, right? And I knew I was not very good at it. And also I teach people that come into my fitness classes, they're very nervous. They don't know what they're doing. They're beginners as well. So it's good to go back and be a beginner at something again. A lot of, as you become an adult, sometimes you don't do that. So it's been valuable for you as well.
Right. It gives you that rush, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. It's that euphoria you can't get. You know what I mean? There's a lot to be said for mundane things. Once you get those things into place and you do them every day, sometimes we think, well, that's pretty boring, but it's edifying. It shows your strength that you can do that. It shows courage, in my opinion. But then when you start something new, it's a different euphoria. It's that, man. Like Kim asked me that one time, I think he did the husbands at boot camp. She was like, "You want to go to boot camp?" And I was like, "Oh no, Joe Martin's a beast. He'll kill me." And then after you stop doing it, I was like, I should have went. I should have went to that. That would have been fun for me. Even if it crushed me, it would have gave me that, what you just said. You know what I mean? And a shoot. I mean, I never was a star crawl pupil either. You know, I just I had to learn, and they laughed at me. Some of my instructors laughed so hard at me because I would just forget. Man, I was going there and go, I don't remember this, and show me, and they know that I practiced, and so I took videos and stuff on my phone. Even some of the guys and girls would help me with stuff. You know, they had a couple of female instructors there too that would just, man, I would pay a crisp $100 bill to watch somebody try to take those girls' purse in the parking lot.
Oh yeah.
It would be a fun thing to watch.
Yeah, I used to train at Maverick, and the late Suzanne Ramsden owns it. She's a female black belt, and she'll smoke.
It would be fun to watch her try to get it. Yeah, and what's her son's name?
Evan is her son's name.
Evan, yeah, now he is. I went to one of his seminars at Claymore too, and he is a champion Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner, I guess you would say. And it was amazing to watch the what do you call it, the vinyasa of it. I don't know why I had struggled with that word, but that flow of it. You know how fast he could just get a 260-pound Marine in a pretzel position that he couldn't get out of. He wasn't getting out of it.
It'd be humiliating. Like I would be grappling with him, and he would just be like instructing other people while he's just got me pretzeled up. He's like, okay, y'all be doing stuff over there. I'm at like 200 pounds. I'm in good shape, pretty strong. And he just, man, I'd be like if you wrestled with a 4-year-old or something like that. It's amazing.
And that for me, you know, I guess I think you probably could get on board with this. When somebody humiliates you that quickly, you know there's something to it.
Yeah, and I was like, hey, jiu-jitsu works. When I first showed up and these people were pretzeling me up, I was much bigger, stronger, faster. I was like, all right, this stuff works. It'll convince you. So
I watched him. I was there. Mr. Ryan Rushton he invited me. He said, Ryan, Mike, you need to come and check out Evan. He is absolutely amazing to watch. And so I talked to Mickey too, and he said, you should come. And the other instructors, Jeff, and they were like, hey man, you should come and sit and watch. Because I wasn't level 3. I was level 2 then, but I couldn't go to the other. So I sat and watched those guys, and Evan was amazing, man. I ran into him a couple of times at Rooster's Crow. I think I've seen you there. I know I have, I love it. It's got Tyson and everybody at Rooster's Crow Coffee. They're good folks over there, aren't they? I'm always pumping locals.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, Evan's a great instructor too. He's not just good at it; he's also really good at instructing too. So if you want to learn jiu-jitsu, Maverick's a great place. So
yeah, he was easy to talk to. I remember he talked to me that day, and I was like, man, that's so cool of you. Because I know that as it's like for you at boot camp, and at the end, this girl's gonna come and talk to you, and they're gonna ask you about what this exercise is, and then you're gonna take the time with them. But then sometimes you might get some that are more inquisitive and more like me, they don't get it yet, and they stand there, but you're always patient, and I noticed that about you, and I noticed that about Evan too when I met him. And that's a quality. That's a quality, man. Compassion is a quality that a lot of people that everybody needs, but not everybody has or is able to. You know what I mean? We mistake our compassion for other things,
Right.
Anyway.
So you mentioned earlier about you and Jude recorded a song. What's something else positive that has come out of this whole pandemic, COVID craziness situation? So you hear about the negative a lot. What's something positive came out of your life?
Let's go with this. Okay. I thought about your question when you sent it to me, and I would have to say, I wrote a lot of songs, Joe. I wrote 14 songs during the shutdown, shutdown. And it kept me rooted. But what happened was I was going to yoga once a week for an hour, and maybe, I can't remember, some weeks a little more. And I was practicing at home for 30 minutes a day, 3 more days a week. And when the pandemic hit, I began to do yoga 1 to 3 hours a day, 5 days a week, 6 days a week. I began to break it up. I began to really, really stay in poses longer and develop my practice and develop my strengths in that area and start to develop my core. So my biggest positivity thing, I would think, besides the fact that the obvious one is I got to spend time with my family, and they couldn't leave. Couldn't go do anything. They had to do it. So I enjoyed that. But I also really enjoyed immersing myself in my practice. to become a stronger person and a better person, you know?
Sure. That's awesome, man.
That's it. Yeah. That's the number one thing.
That self-work is so important. It's tough, but it's important.
It is. And once you do it, it really gives you the confidence that I've never had in my whole life. Even playing in front of 40 or 50,000 people, which I've done a bunch of times, much more than people probably know. That's really great. But not like the satisfaction of doing a headstand for the first time and not having to use anything to hold me up. You know what I mean? Just saying. Those those breakthroughs, you know what I mean? Like when you said, like, if you get into that move, that one guy that totally racked you down that first day, can't do it now. That feeling, that feeling, you know, that, hey,
because you know how far you've come. That's how you build confidence. You do something you didn't think you could do. I mean, that's just, if you simply boiled it down to confidence, that's what it is. You sucked at something, now you can do it. Yeah, that's amazing, man.
And yeah, I'm really thankful for the chance to get to, you know.
Yeah. So you've been all around the country traveling and all that stuff. So tell me about, if you could go to any restaurant, your favorite restaurant, where would you go right now? Imagine there's no COVID, you can sit down, you can hang out. Where would you go?
I have such a restaurant for this and restaurant for that guy, Joe. It makes it really hard for me. And I thought about it and thought about it and thought about it. And gosh, really, most of my favoriteest restaurants ever in the whole world are here in Huntsville. But if I had to just leave this city and go and get some food somewhere and just absolutely love it, I would go to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And there is a local place there. I don't even know this guy. I never even met him. It's Jimmy's, and it's Jimmy Z. It spells it with Jimmyz, hibachi. And he does hibachi there. And it's like when you walk in, it's like an old Church's Fried Chicken or an old Popeyes or an old KFC kind of, you know what I'm saying? It's like an old chain. Chain wasn't there anymore. You know what I mean? And the place has been there almost 30 years. So I don't know what it was before, but he's a surfer and he serves hibachi. So you get your protein, your bowl. First of all, the servings are enormous. I got a combo at the time. We talked earlier, but the time I got a steak and shrimp one, and every time I go through Myrtle Beach, I have to go to Jimmy Z's. I have to go there, and I go there and eat. And they have a little tiny ice too, Joe. Tiny ice, and they had pink lemonade, Fanta. Oh, it was a Fanta. No, it's lemonade, because they had the peach soda Fanta too. But they had the lemonade on the gun. And
you get the good ice with the pink lemonade, man. You're living on the high. What's a good hibachi?
That's one of my only sugar drinks. If I go through, I haven't been to Myrtle Beach a long time now, but I know Jimmy's still there, or Jimmy Z's or whatever. I don't even know what they call it. But a friend of mine sent a message. But after I got back from there the last time, he's like, "Man, I'm in Myrtle Beach. Where should I go eat?" I said, "You got to go to Jimmy Z's." And he went. He sent me a message. I took a picture. He's like, "Dude, this is amazing," because they give you so much food and it's cheap, and it's a bunch of young people that work there. You know what I mean? He employs college and high school age folk, and they're all just really nice and informative. I mean, how many times you walk into a restaurant to get your food in under 10 minutes, and the person serving it to you knows every ingredient in it?
I don't know that happens around very often.
It doesn't happen because he's such a great boss, they say. He's so, or that's what I heard. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know the guy, but anyway, Jimmy's.
All right. I got to go now, man. I got to go to the beach.
If you're there,
check him out.
Go there and get a combo hibachi. I mean, it was 12 bucks, I think. I tipped him 20. I just couldn't believe how good the service was. They were just on top of it, and they checked on me and talked to me. They'll do it for you too if you go in there. I'm sure of it. And if they don't,
So looking back over your life, what is the best compliment you've ever received?
Man, I guess the best compliment I ever get, and I've gotten it just 2 or 3 times, is and it's my least favorite thing to do, is to play a funeral procession. But when I played my grandma's, I got some compliments from some of her friends that were, in their 80s. And listen, if you folks out there don't know this, little kids and old adults, they don't really care about your feelings. They're going to tell you what they think. So if they like it, they're going to tell you. And if they don't like it, they're going to tell you. And it's up to you to be prepared for that. And I mean, nothing's better than half a dozen crying old ladies telling you they just loved your songs.
Yeah.
You sang for Mary Ruth. You know what I mean? So that was it. But my grandma, I mean, my aunts, they asked me to do it, and they were thankful, and my mom, of course, my mom, and but I couldn't look at them.
Oh yeah.
I mean, but I sure had a great time doing it, because I knew that I could really, it gave me all the closure I needed losing my grandma. She was the best woman I ever met, and she deserved that.
Sure. Well, that's a special memory, man.
That was my best memory, man. That was my best compliment. I thought about what you said. I got some great compliments from Vince Gill at the Opry too, and
nice.
I got to hang out with him and Amy while they changed strings on his Martin, and it was really I held the door for him that night when he came in. He goes, "Hey man, my name's Vince." I'm like, "Dude, I know exactly who you are."
Yeah, I've heard of you.
He's so big, man. Joey Shear, he's a big old dude. I wouldn't mess with him. I wouldn't push him at the Taco Bell. He put me in the wall. But he was real nice. He's like, "Hey, come on back here." And he was changing his strings. He was like, "I decided I'm going to play this one tonight, but I didn't like the strings on it." I'm like, "Dude, you're about to go play at the Grand Ole Opry on brand new strings. Are you crazy? They're going to stretch." But he sat there the whole time stretching them, and he went out and crushed it. And when I got ready to go out, I was standing there and I was just starting to get that seed of doubt, Joe. And I turned around and Vince was standing there. He goes, "Man, you're going to crush it. Get out there, Bane." And I noticed one of your questions was, do I have a nickname? So I guess we could approach that one if you want to.
Yeah. So they call you the Bean.
They call me the Bean.
How'd that come about?
That came about because when I was out with the record company with Gary, you have these people that come and they look at you, and then they look at you with their clipboard, and they tell you what you're going to wear, and they tell you how your hair is going to be. I mean, they you know what I mean? There's a lot of things that are behind the scenes that are kind of weird.
Yeah.
I got to have my makeup airbrushed one time for a CMT show. You know what I mean? Just stuff like that. It's like you would never think that some dude was going to get that on, especially not Mike Roberts. You know what I mean? But it was neat because she said, "You can stay dressed how you are. And I saw the show last night, and you got to not ever, ever, ever stop jumping like that. It's like a jumping bean on the stage." And then they were like, "Jumping bean." I was like, "Don't you do it." And so I had this string of nicknames that Gary had given me. And really, honestly, Gary could probably only say it, but it was so long. But my nickname was Jumping Bean. When we came back, when Chad and I started doing a duo, Chad Reeves and I, he's the other guitar player, singer in Pop Charlie, and he has a nickname from the road too called Shelvis, because when we would drink too much, he would be Shelvis Presley. Good stuff. No stories will be told there, but we called our duo Shelvis and the Bean. So because they all just started calling me Bean. You know what I mean? I could see Blake Shelton at some festival and he'd go, "Bane," just whoever it was, that I would see out there. And that was my nickname, Bane, So there you go. That's how I got it, jumping around the stage. And
there you go.
I was an active player. And, I can't contain my excitement when I'm playing music. It completely envelops me. And I think it should for everybody. But then you got Michael, our bass player, on the other side of the stage, and he's moving his head. He's just standing like a statue, but he's listening. He's playing. You know what I mean? Yeah. And everybody else has got their own movements. Like Chad has his movements and stuff, and I'm up and down. And that's just kind of a thing. So there you go.
So kind of tying into your passion for your music. What inspires you to play your music? So you feel this? I mean, what is that like? What are you inspired by?
Man, when I was a kid, I was able to play when I was depressed, and able to play when I was bullied, and able to play when I was happy, and able to play when I was sad. And it was the one thing I could reach over and pick up that didn't cost me anything else, and sit down and hold it and play it. And then, like you were saying a while ago about jiu-jitsu, you start to develop a passion for progress. And then you begin to go and feel that progress. And so my inspiration to play originally was very innocent. My mom is a singer. She's a very beautiful woman. She was a runner-up in Miss Alabama when she was younger. I don't know what year it was because I never kept up with it very much. But because she didn't talk about it much. But she was a great singer. And she went out and toured some with Will McFarland when he was out doing Christian music, and Lenny LeBlanc and Aaron Wilburn back in the day. And so I got to hang out and see all that stuff happen. And that gave me passion. Her love of music gave me passion to try it too, because if it meant that much to her, it had to be cool. And it was. And I kept doing it. And I kept doing it. And that was my passion for it. You know what I mean? Just to get better and get there. And then when I cut my fingers off, the doctors were like, well, you may as well just find something else to do, kid. You're not going to be able to play the guitar again. Man, that made me so mad, Joe. Man, I got so mad at those doctors, and I just wanted to practice, and I tried everything. I flipped it over upside down. I went left. You know what I mean? I did everything I could do, but you can't unforget something, you know. And when it's there, I mean, you can let it go, but I wasn't ready to let it go because it's my passion. I wanted to play, so I just continued to do it. And then, you know, it just finally one day I finished a tune. That's the only way I can say it to you. And so that was my passion, was just originally was just to be able to be free, and it was successful. Listening to all that music as a kid, it made sense to me. The very first album I learned in its entirety was Wheel in the Sky. The Wheel in the Sky album was a Journey. I don't even remember the name of the album now. I'm so sad, but I know. But then I learned Screaming for Vengeance, and I learned those albums like that, Judas Priest. And I learned those albums in like 2 weeks difference. And all my friends were like, dude, you need to go see a doctor. Something's wrong with you. You're living two completely different kinds of music. But you know, that was it. That was it. That's what gave it to me. So that's my best answer I got for you, is that I just was surrounded by it. And I was encouraged to be a musician, but not to be a full-time musician.
Right.
You know what I mean? Your parents want the best for you, and they just didn't see that as the best for me. And all I could see was, man, y'all are crazy. If I'm going to go to college for 4 years, I got to be making money right now playing Led Zeppelin down the street or whatever it is I'm trying to play, you know? And so, yeah, that's what gave me my passion. You know, it's great. What they say, Joe, if you love what you do, you never work a day into your life.
That's it, man. Yeah. So you just kind of glanced over. What's this about cutting your fingers off?
Oh, yeah, it's not something I talk about, but it was, I guess, in passing, it had to be part of that answer. In 1984, I worked on a reconstruction crew at Valley Ho Golf Course. Mm-hmm. We were rebuilding the golf course at that time. It used to be a different course than it is now, and we turned it into a 27-hole course instead of an 18-hole course, and we added lots of greens and tees and this sort of thing. Irrigation, everything was replaced, and we tore all the old sod up and would move it over and then move it back. Well, the sod machine got messed up. It's a tractor, and I was inside of it working on it on 4th of July in 1984. And someone came back from lunch, and the note that I had placed on the seat with the rock, it was very windy that day, and we came in early, so we wanted to get off early, and we were getting paid double time, but we wanted to get off early because it was 4th of July, and we were working really, really hard, and I was beside it, someone turned it on. And when I had been working on the foreign object debris, the rock stuck in the pulleys, it broke, and my hand went into the machine when I was trying to escape it, because the bed knife was going to cut my legs off about, I don't know, a foot below my hip. You know what I mean? And there's about 6,000 pounds of pressure in those. When it hits, it was going to cut my legs off. And I knew it because I maintenance that machine. It was my job. And I was young, but it was my job. You know what I mean? And that was what I knew how to do. You know what I mean? Like we were saying earlier with the computer, you know, if I do it, I can learn. And man, I got out with my hand in, and I shook my hand out of it as a reflex. And I was told by several people that I picked up the entire unit and shook it off of me. And the unit weighs about, I don't know, 2,500 pounds. You know, I don't know if they believe that or not believe that, but when I looked at my hand, it was what I got. You know what I mean? My fingers were, this one was gone in zigzag row. It was laying in my hand. This one was like it was a skeleton. Tendons is what it was. That's why I was sitting looking at my hand. And this was this, but a lot of people don't realize this. One of your arteries goes to your middle finger. And so it ends in the middle finger, and you cut that middle finger. And I did, it releases arterial spray.
Sure.
And so I remember, this is going to be weird, but I remember going into shock and just laughing uncontrollably because my friend that was on the tractor that turned it on fainted and fell off it. And my buddy Bobby was with me, and he said, "What happened?" I said, "I cut my fingers off. I was holding them in my shirt." He said, "Let me see it." I don't believe you. And I took my hand out, and blood sprayed on him, and he vomited. And it was the funniest thing I think I'd ever seen at the time, because I was really, really in shock. And and then I remember the doctor came up, and he started talking to me about my fingers. And I said, "Are you an effing doctor?" And he said, "As a matter of fact, I am an effing doctor." And he was a friend of mine's dad, and he looked at my hand. He goes, "Okay, it's going to do, okay?" And he just totally cool. And he just wrapped my hand up on my wrist. And he goes, "Hold that really, really tight." So it really hurts. He goes, "Does it hurt worse than your fingers being missing?" And I said, "No, sir, it doesn't." And he said, "Well, then, shut your mouth. Wait for the guy to come get you." And so, at the time, Joe, it's 1984. So they're building Whitesburg Extension to go to the hospitals. That was gravel.
Wow.
Okay. So from you go south of Drake, right? And you go down the hill there. When you go right to California, and then you go straight, the road ended at by Wallace. And from there all the way to the hospitals, it was all gravel. Okay. And so, which I guess is why there's that weird street by Hildegard's and all that, right there. But it went on down, and my boss was driving me. I remember him going like 60 on that road, and it was scary. And I said, "No, Brad, you're going to kill us all just driving this car, So we slowed down and we got there. But that's how I cut my fingers off. Everything went good, and I was in the hospital for a long time because I got a cellular bone infection, very similar to gangrene. I was in the hospital for 12 days. Church came in and said, "Hey, you think you can be healed?" And I said, "Well, sure, I can be healed." And they laid hands on me and left. And they all came in the next day, all crying with happiness and joy. And I was like, "What's going on?" They're like, "Well, they were going to cut your arm off because it had traveled up to your shoulder. But they came and prayed over you, and now it's dying. It's all the way back down to your elbow almost." And then the next day, it was all the way down to my hand. And the next day, I went home, man. Wow. And people believe it or they don't believe it. I do, and I watched it happen, but I had no idea because they kept me in the dark about it. They're like, "It'll crush him if he finds out he's going to lose his arm. He won't be able to play his guitar anymore." And, and I believe it would have probably, and it may have broke me, Joe.
Yeah.
I would definitely have had a different life, but I'm okay, you know what I mean? And I was 17 years old, man. I was 17. And I'm 53. So, I mean, I've been playing a whole lot longer without him than I ever played with. If they came up tomorrow and said, "Hey, Mike, we got this operation, put your hand back together," I'd be like, "No, I don't know about all that, man. That's kind of weird. I don't think I want to do that, because I'm so used to it." So.
Oh, man, that's crazy. I never knew that story. So that's really interesting, man. So, man, you feel like you playing a little tune for us?
Are you ready? Okay. We got a guitar real quick here. Sorry, my yoga bridges. Anybody singing about
that's all right, man. That just legitimizes your yoga practice. Let people know you're legit.
That adds to it. All right. I thought about it. Do you have a song of mine that's your favorite, or?
Man, I'm gonna let you pick.
Okay. Oh. There it goes. Uh-oh. So first, I have to do this number. This is hard to do, so I'm doing it like this. This is my Danny Davis guitar, Joe. This is made here in Huntsville at the Low Mill area. So,
hey, Tangle String, they're the best. They're the best.
Yes, I really, my main mandolin and my main acoustic are both his creations. So, darn string, I'll get there in a second. Okay, this is a song that I wrote with a guy named Chad Lawson. And Chad is a really world famous and world renowned jazz piano player. He does lots of classical things, but his spin on it is so unique that he tours and he goes all over the world. You know what I mean? Russia, he goes everywhere and he plays. And he sells out everywhere he goes. And he's such an accomplished musician, such a great guy. And when I met him, he wanted to be a songwriter and he wanted to be a musician, and he was a player, and he's a really great player. And we started doing some playing together, and he played on one of my EPs called The Chain. Okay. And we wrote this song together that I ended up putting on the first 5 o'clock Charlie CD, because he had just moved away. He was going to New York to be a jazz piano player. He lives in Manhattan now with his family. And we wrote this song, and Alan Little played harp on it.
Okay.
You can probably find this cut on YouTube if you look. I did send you my link to go to the YouTube channel, and you can kind of just scroll through there. You probably could find this if you looked. But Alan, I don't know, many people don't know that Alan's a great harmonica player, but he is. And so Alan, he played on it, and it's a song that Chad and I wrote, and it's called "Up One Day, Down One Day." Okay. Oh, this guitar's hating me right now. Up one day, down one day, do you know what I mean? One day I'm strong, next day I'm weak. Up one day, down one day, doing what I see. Thinking about tomorrow, rob my 2 days from me. Thinking about the future, am I missing a dream? Longing for yesterday, did I miss the scene? Is it all planned out for me? Should I wait and see? Up one day, down one day. Do you know what I mean? I guess it's part of my instinct, I think. Everything gon' work out if I just wait and see. Would it be forever till the world hears me sing? Up one day, down one day, do you know what I mean? I've been thinking about the future, am I missing a dream? Longing for yesterday, did I miss the scene? Is it all played out for me? Should I wait and see? I've been up one day, down one day. Up one day, down one day. Oh, do you know what I mean? I've been thinking about the future, am I missing a dream? Longing for yesterday, I miss the sea. Is it all planned out for me? Should I wait and see? I've been up one day, down one day. I'm up one day, down one day. Up one day, down one day. Do you know what I mean? How do you know? Something happened to me there. What I mean? That's what Chad was saying. That's jazz, man.
That's great, man.
Most of it was pretty okay, but yeah. You asked me. I know we're probably about to wrap it up, but you asked me for anything I wanted to share and add to let you know. But we are doing our big old party page for Patty's on the 13th. And I said, you're not talking about eating and drinking excess. I'll be there cooking. You know what I mean? But we're playing that night, so it's on the 13th. We'll have our parade at 2. Ernest is Irish as they come. I guess I know a bunch of the Irish around here. I know you guys probably get out some and do some things. But the the parade is pretty neat because he's part of the Hibernian Society,
Mm-hmm.
and that society has a bagpipe player who's going to come and play, and they'll want the kids and everybody outside, but you got to have a mask. You're going to get turned away. You know what I mean?
Right.
And they'll send you around, for the parade that day on the 13th. So, but other than that, I can't think of anything. Other than that video's coming out sometime. It will.
We look forward to that video, man. And blamtothe.com is where you check out 5 o'clock. Check the video, see the gigs coming up, but definitely come out to the page on the 13th if you're in town. They do it up every year.
Yeah, we're still there, and man, I can't thank you enough, and I'm really thankful that you wrote this book, because I can't wait to read it and get edified by it, because I know it's going to help me get some good ideas for some cardiovascular stuff. You know what I mean? I'm kind of adding that back into my yoga. I mean, I get, the yoga is pretty good at it, but I try to keep going with some other stuff, and it's going to give me some great stuff for eating too. I know that you have eating chapter number 2.
Wow, man, I appreciate that. Thank you so much for spending time with me, man. It's always good to see you, even if it's over the internet, man. Good to hang out with you.
Man, you too, man. I'm sure I'm honored that you thought of me, and thank you for having me on your show.
Oh, absolutely, man. You have a great day. Good to hang with you.
Same, man. You too, brother. Thank you so much.